What's up, Raider Nation? It's your boy Mikey Raider coming to you post record-breaking Raiders scoring record. That's right, we scored 3 sixes, 63 versus the Chokers, and that's what they did. And let's talk about it. All right, guys, if you watched my live stream, I drank a lot of rum. No, it was rum. It wasn't cum. It was rum. But I drank a lot of rum, and you guys supported me. We had a great time. And literally, for even my drunk memory, we scored like 21 points in the first quarter. And I wasn't even paying attention to the game at halftime. Then we got defensive scores, and everything was going our way. And I was like, are we in a dream? Is this reality? Because you know I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I'm like, are we literally being proven that we live in the effing Matrix? Because this does not happen for our Raiders. Let's get that right. It does not happen for our Vegas Raiders, especially this year. I had a good old time, and so did you guys. And this game is the coolest. The greatest night of many of our lives since the Bronco game many, many years ago. 54-14, I think that score was. My goodness. What else is there for me to say? Do I critique the players? Nah, I can't do it. Do I critique the coaches? Nah, I can critique Brandon Staley. We all knew he was going to get fired, and he did, less than 24 hours later. What was that game? I found out a few things since then, and I've witnessed a few other things. So let's just talk about how we had the so-called greatest game in the Raiders' history of scoring under this regime. All right, let's talk about it. Everybody on Twitter, the Raider haters, some of the actual Raider fans are all up in arms because we won, saying, oh, well, congratulations, we beat a bad Charger team. Or congratulations, we lost a draft pick. Oh, now we moved up 3 or 4 spots. We might not be top 10 anymore. We could have been top 5. It's insane. You can't please anybody nowadays. And before the game, while I was doing my live stream, people were telling me, why are you picking the Raiders to win? Why do you want the Raiders to win? Last week, I didn't pick the Raiders to win versus the Vikings. This week, I felt we could beat the Chargers. People were asking me why we get a better draft pick. Then I had to explain to them in my drunken rum state that this is about the just win, baby. This is the Raiders culture. This is what Antonio Pierce is bringing to the team. This is what the players need to go by. They don't need to worry about draft picks and draft status and picking in the top 5 and who's going to be our quarterback. And you know what? Who gives a fuck? That is not the way of the Raiders. Albeit we want an athletic quarterback and we want to do something different. But again, even if we have a top 5 pick, what do the Raiders do with it? The history shows us not much. Not much. Recent history, I should say, at least. So there's no guarantee. So do we tank? Fuck no. My video is probably going to get flagged now because I said the F word early on. But no, we don't tank. We don't tank. We don't do that. Fudge, no, we don't do that. And that's what I told everybody. That's the Raider way. And now some of them are happy. They're like, man, with that big of a victory, yeah, we needed to win that too. That was more important to win. So, that being said, That was one observation that is probably going down on Twitter right now. Now, the other observation is the media is talking about Antonio Pierce. Again, he should be hired right away. We all know that can't happen. But I was having the questions days earlier that has he earned that spot completely? According to the mainstream media, in my eyes, he did not. The jury was still out on him. But after what we saw, regardless was who did what and what did who, he is changing people and teams and coming off of the worst record-breaking loss for the Raiders on the worst side of history, as they keep calling it, to go from the worst to the best. That proves coaching. That proves pride in our coaching staff, and our players still have it, regardless of the turmoil we've been having, or the discretions that Devontae Adams is mad, or this or that, or Aiden O'Connell sucks, or he does or he doesn't. They came off the worst performance. Now they had the best performance. Now people can throw all the loopholes in there. Oh, well, it's because the Chargers gave up. Oh, the Raiders won that game. They freaking won that game. It don't matter if the Chargers gave up, right? We don't have control of their locker room. Raiders won that game. And they built up culture and even more excitement, in my opinion, even post our former coach getting fired. That game brought everybody together. Even more so. Again, adversity, fire our coach. They come together, they win, then the emotions start going down. Then, bye week. Then emotions in a really bad game. Coming off the bye. First time Antonio Pierce and these rookie coaches came off a bye together. And they failed miserably versus the Vikings. And they took that loss to heart. And they changed things. Bo Hardegrave went upstairs. That's right. Just like Patrick Graham wasn't doing so good on the field. So they put Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator, upstairs. Then he started seeing things that he couldn't see on the field because our defense got better. So what did they do with Bo Hardegrave? Hey, you ain't seeing shit on the field. Get your ass up there. And what did he do? He did what he did with AOC. I don't know all the stats. Probably 280 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns. The play calls were added. They were not from the former system. They were added wrinkles. The Wildcat formation with Amir Abdullah or Brandon Bolden or whoever one it was. And it was brilliant. But people want to say the Chargers gave up. Go ahead. Continue with that statement. Raiders won that game versus a bad Chargers team. We were in it to win it in Miami or with Miami. We were in it to win it with Kansas City. We were in it to win it in Minnesota or with Minnesota. They were bad. Those were good teams. And we were still in it to win it. We can win some damn games with this team and this squad and their fucking heart. That's why I am so proud of Antonio Pierce and the staff this week. They got it done. My eyes are open. He's a serious candidate right now for this head coaching job. Of course, they have to do interviews, and there's going to be a lot of rumors about Gruden, Harbaugh, and whoever else. But I'm telling you right now, not to go with the mainstream narrative or coming off of a big victory, am I saying that Antonio Pierce deserves to be the head coach. We're seeing everything from him. Adversity, this and that, triumph, coming back, bouncing back, and then he says and does all the right things in the media. He might be possibly getting a little too famous. You know, they had videos of him, you know, in his Impala and, you know, wearing the Raiders jacket. And, you know, you don't want that to go to his head like it did with Hugh Jackson back in the days. Y'all remember that situation. But he's leading the Raider culture publicly now. And off of this win, the Raiders know it, and they have it with AP. Again, I wish he knew more ins and outs and X's and O's, but he's proving that he's learning. And he's manning up, taking accountability, saying all the right things, and he has a leadership mentality and a presence about him that is, it's just obvious. It's just obvious. And you cannot let it slide anymore after a couple of bad losses. This man deserves to be our head coach. Okay? Regardless of what happens in the next 4 games, yeah, my money's on Antonio Pierce should be our next head coach. Well, and then one other thing that really did me in was after the game, what was it, Amazon? They had Antonio Pierce standing in front of the locker room, shaking hands with every person that walked off of the field. That's right. Shook the hand of everybody. The water boys, the water girls, the water he-theys. I'm just trying to be funny. Every single person, every player shook their hands. Right there. That's right. Good victory. Hey, you didn't do anything in the game. But you know what you did do? You cheered the team on. And you put on the jersey, baby. Good game! Loved it. That was some shit right there when I was watching that. Made me want to cry. That man's a leader. And he had Mark Davis upstairs home aloneing it. And then he also brought in Jack Jones. Gave that man a third chance. And he came through big. He also released Marcus Peters with pride. There was no drama that came out of that I know about. Maybe later. But he replaced Marcus Peters possibly with Jack Jones. Gave that man a third chance. And he had that insane interception pick 6 on that, what was it, the pass play or whatever, the screen. Oh my gosh. That was from the playbook. That means Jack Jones was watching the playbook and they studied film and they knew that lineman, they might do that screen because they did it probably last Sunday. And they jumped the route. He jumped it so bad he had to go back for the ball. Oh. Antonio Pierce, man, got my vote. Got my vote. Right now, against Gruden, against Jim Harbaugh, got my vote. Yeah, I still want to maybe look at some offensive coordinators. Or maybe even if we can continue, Bo Hardegrave can become our offensive coordinator. Let's do it. Let's hire in-house and let's keep it going. That's my opinion. Now let's talk about the other side of the field. For the people that say we only won because the Chargers gave up, I do admit the Chargers gave up. And how do I know that? Well, I just watched a video of Brandon Staley last week or a week ago or whatever after his loss. They asked him, have you lost the locker room after all these losses? And then Brandon Staley, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said it pretty much exactly like this. He's like, no, we haven't lost the room. There's good men in that room. They're still fighting. And he goes, how do you know that we didn't lose the locker room or I didn't lose the locker room? Because they're still fighting and they're still playing in the game. They didn't give up. They didn't quit. And we still scored points or something like that. Seriously, I think it was on the Pat McAfee show in one of the clips. And basically he was telling the team publicly that, you know, the defense continued fighting, and he's a defensive coach. He's like, the defense continued fighting, and they made plays, and, you know, they got an interception, so they didn't give up on us. So if the team, technically, in their brains, wants to get rid of him, because they probably already did since last year, they want to get rid of him. If he's lost the locker room, he lost it at that moment officially, because he said they're not giving up. He goes, the only time they'll give up is if, oh, that's what he said. He goes, how do I know I didn't lose the locker room? Because it wasn't a blowout. They didn't give up. It wasn't a blowout. In terms of that game that they lost. He said it wasn't a blowout. The players heard that. And the players went out this week, and the minute a couple of things went wrong, they're like, screw it. Let's let this be a blowout. We want him gone. If we mess up this game, if we give up, because the Raiders are already ahead 21-0 due to whatever happened. We want him gone. We can get rid of him. They might not have said it, but they remember that press conference, you know, and they're like, what do you mean it wasn't a blowout? So if it is a blowout, we can get you fired? That's what I think happened. But it's a good watch on Pat McAfee. Watch that clip. So, it was nice to see Devontae Adams getting hyphy on the sidelines, enjoying the game. They pulled out the stogies. The Jacoby Myers pass with a perfect passer rating was nice to see. Aiden O'Connell with a smile instead of that monotone stuff that we kind of remember from our former quarterback during adversity. It was really, really nice to see. And Aiden O'Connell can sling that ball, bro. Like, I just said before this game that he's basically going to be a good backup in the NFL because he has a lot of the traits. But he proved when everything's going good that he can make changes and he can stand in the pocket and he can sling that rock with a good game plan and good strategy. Like, he can handle it. I'm not crowning him like Antonio Pierce as a coach. I'm not crowning him a starter. But man, if he can get a couple of more games like that in a row, and I know it'll be hard to do, you know, to get everything to line up just like it did yesterday. But if he can get a couple more games like that on film, yeah, there's definitely a question there whether he could start for us or some other team in the future. And we all know the Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr situation. I spoke about it on my live stream. It's a little bit of a conspiracy. Jimmy Garoppolo is not playing because if he gets injured and he plays, the Raiders lose about $11.2 million. Same situation as Derek Carr last year when they benched him. It's kind of the same situation, except Jimmy Garoppolo is actually dressing and standing there to be a backup. But they don't want to put Jimmy Garoppolo in on any instance because I think they technically want to move on from him. I don't know how they're going to. Or they want to see if he's willing to be a perennial backup, no matter who the quarterback is next year. But that's pretty expensive perennial backup, guys. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, they're trying to save $11-something million from not getting him injured. So, it's an interesting situation we'll talk about in the offseason. Just to give a little tidbit for the people that care. A lot of you don't, if you care about Carr. Apparently, he's off the injury report with all that stuff. And he bought his wide receivers and his offensive linemen Christmas gifts of Rolexes. So kudos on Derek Carr trying to make amends for his faults and be a good teammate. It's a good story. Yeah, now let's talk about Zeus. Zamir White had a touchdown, had some good runs, looked really good. And Michael Myers, man, made some big plays, boy. That dude can block. That dude can freaking block. And it was really nice to see. He is graduating and starting to learn the system, and they're using him. And I am so sorry, guys. My iPad keeps moving. I can't use my phone anymore. The audio doesn't work. So, well, the audio and video. So, yeah, just what a great game, guys. I don't need to talk about this anymore. Just what a fantastic game to watch. And moving forward, the defense and the offense, man, they're finding a groove. I'm not saying we're going to make the playoffs. I'm not saying we're going to be there. But I know in every game we're going to try to win. And I know the actual Raider culture that we all feel and we all know and we all have when we go to events and we go to parties and we hang out, eat dinner, have barbecues, hang out tailgating. There's just like Raider spirit with clothing and the culture and the people that has now infected our locker room. And I can't accredit it all to Antonio Pierce, but he was possibly the spark, being from LA and growing up a Raider fan, and him being a leader, winning a Super Bowl. Then we got Max Crosby that's living that Raider way, and they all wanted it to come out. And Davante Adams has it in him, and it's there now. We got rid of the cancer. We're starting to heal. And guess what? We found our groove back, like Stella did in the 90s. We're finding our groove. And we're finding the actual Raider way as opposed to the Patriot way. And this game, I got to be honest with you guys, with all the storylines behind the scenes for both teams, it's possibly one of the greatest Thursday night football games in history to watch if you understand the storylines. I'm not talking about the gameplay on the field, that it was a close game or this or that. I'm talking about all the storylines for both franchises from their fan bases. And this was a tale of two teams. One of them wanting their coach gone and giving up, and then another team fighting for their coach to get a job, to be their head coach for the next season. It is such a crazy dichotomy this game was. And it was fantastic to be a part of. I feel so blessed to have live streamed it. My reaction, please go back and watch the video and watch, my live streaming and us having a great time. That has not happened. We normally have heart attack games, or we end up crying or mad at everybody after the game and we want everybody fired. This brought everything together. Brought our fandom, our friendship, our love, our respect, and took our divide to equal this game. And it showed us the Raider way. Antonio Pierce should be our head coach. We got that pride back officially. It's my opinion, y'all. It's my opinion. The whole NFL took notice. Even players are going to want to play for this team because they're having fun. And I'll just end it with this. That Patriot way, we all know it wasn't fun. And now we see the players having fun. Even former Patriots. They're actually happy he's gone because they're having fun. Throwing touchdowns to Jacoby Myers. Scoring wildcat touchdowns. Amir Abdullah, Brandon Bolden, whoever else it was. Former Patriots are actually free. And they're living their best life past the Patriot cancer. And remember, that's exactly what happened to Tom Brady at the end of his career. That's why he wanted out of New England. And did you notice the first interviews when he was in Tampa Bay, they spoke up to him and they said, "How you feeling?" And he said, "I'm feeling free." And then he started drinking, hanging out, barbecuing, living life. That says a lot. That says a lot. Now, the rumors are Bill Belichick might be fired, and he might be the next head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers to bring some stability to them. I'm not saying Bill Belichick is as bad as our former coach, but he'll probably bring on our former coach to be his OC in LA. But the Raider Nation and the Raider players and the former Patriots are now free. And a lot of free agents and players are going to want to play for Antonio Pierce and play within our team because we proved and showed the whole world we're a family and we can get shit done. Again, doesn't mean we'll win every game by 60 points or 40 points, whatever the final. It just means we're the motherfucking Raiders. We're back. Now, if we can bring a crowd every week instead of selling their tickets. But more importantly, the actual Raiders themselves, they know who they are. They created an identity last night. They did. And I like it. Let me know your comments down below. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay blessed. And I'll see you on the Raiders Roundtable. I wanted to do it tonight or Friday, but I can't. Just feeling some sort of way. But next Friday, Raiders Roundtable, y'all, before the Christmas game. So be a part of it. Hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. Consider becoming a member. Hit me up with some donations. Buy me some tacos. I appreciate you. I love you. You're all amazing to me. You're my family. Let's go Raiders, baby.